My dad's new girlfriend moved in 4 months after mom's accident and stole my college fund for her daughter's sweet 16. But when her drunk daughter let something slip at the party, I uncovered a truth so devastating it made them both flee the state. When my dad started dating Selena, I was 16. Mom had been gone for 4 months. One minute, we were jumping on the old trampoline together and laughing like little girls. Next thing I knew, her spinal cord snapped and the nurses told us she wouldn't make it. I screamed for Dad, but of course he was at another conference. He was always at conferences those days. 2 weeks later, Dad brought Selena home. I knew something was up when he ironed his shirt and cleaned the kitchen. She walked in wearing a white pantsuit that probably cost more than our mortgage payment, her daughter Sophia trailing behind her like she was touring a museum. Selena had this way of smiling without her eyes participating, and she immediately started touching things. Mom's ceramic bowl on the entry table, the family photos on the mantle, like she was taking inventory. Ellie, my name. This is Selena from work. She's been helping me through this difficult time, Dad said, not meeting my eyes. And this is her daughter Sophia. She's your age. Sophia looked at me, then at the stairs leading to the bedrooms. The changes started small. Selena replaced Mom's handmade curtains because natural light is so important for mental health. Then the family photos got thrown out because living in the past isn't healthy. Mom's garden became a meditation space with some Buddha statue that Selena claimed was authentic. When Selena announced Sophia needed my room for her anxiety, Dad just nodded along. You're stronger than her, Ellie. You can handle the guest room. He was too busy booking couples massages with Selena to notice I'd been sleeping in Mom's old Northwestern hoodie every night, the one that still smelled faintly like her vanilla perfume. I actually helped Sophia move her designer luggage into my room, smiled when she complained the closet was too small, even gave her the desk Mom had spent 3 weekends refinishing because Dad shot me that look that meant, don't make this harder than it needs to be. At dinner, when Selena went on about fresh starts and new family dynamics, I nodded like I understood, like I wasn't dying inside watching Dad pour her wine in Mom's favorite glass. The worst part was how Selena tried to replace Mom without actually caring. She hired someone to go shopping with me, and when I cried on Mom's anniversaries, she booked me a spa appointment and got angry when it didn't make me feel better. Everything exploded when I asked Dad if I could take an SAT prep course. You see, Mom had started a college fund when I was born. She'd always said education was the one thing no one could take away from you. Actually, Selena interrupted before Dad could answer, that weekend is Sophia's sweet 16. We're using family funds for the party. The country club needs a $30,000 minimum. My college fund isn't family funds, I said quietly. Dad's face got that pinched look. Your mother would want us to be united. Stop being selfish. Mom valued education above everything else, I shot back. Your mother isn't here anymore, he snapped. Selena knows what's best for our family now. That's when I found out the truth. The entire college fund, $43,000 Mom had saved by clipping coupons and working overtime, was already gone. All of it went towards Sophia's new BMW, her sorority dues for a college she hadn't even applied to yet, Selena's bathroom renovation. Sophia has social anxiety, Selena explained, like that justified stealing my future. These things will help her adjust. That's when I lost it. I knew Mom's jewelry box still sat in the hall closet, and I knew her mother's pearl earrings were worth enough for at least the SAT prep. I head straight for the pawn shop, but right as my plan started, it stopped. Because the pawn shop owner knew my dad, and he called to verify since I was a minor. When I got home, there was practically steam blowing out of Selena's ears. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. I pinched the bridge of my nose and slammed my bedroom door behind me, but I couldn't hide for long, because the next evening was Sophia's little sweet 16. I wore the dress Selena had picked out and played the part of supportive sister. Sophia held court like a princess, already 5 drinks in by the time they brought out the 7-tier cake. The party was almost over when I found her crying in the bathroom. You hate me, she slurred. I don't hate you. You should, she interrupted. Want to know a secret? She gripped the sink. The night before your mom died, we were at your house. Remember? Dad said he was at a conference. My blood went cold. Mom made me wait in the car, but I followed them to the backyard. They were doing something to your trampoline. Her eyes were unfocused. Mom said, this will work perfectly. And your dad said something about being visible at the hotel the next morning. Sophia, what are you? I'm hammered. Forget it. Forget it. But it was too late. She had already told me too much, and I was out for blood. I grabbed Sophia's wrist as she tried to push past me, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it over the party music filtering through the bathroom door. She stumbled, mascara streaking down her cheeks as she tried to pull away. Let go, Ellie, please, she begged, but I blocked the door with my body. You don't get to drop that bomb and run, I said, my voice shaking. What do you mean they were doing something to the trampoline? Sophia's mascara streaks revealed genuine fear as she glanced toward the door. Right on cue, Selena's voice carried from the party, cutting through the music. Where's the birthday girl? Sophia? Sweetie? The bathroom door swung open before either of us could move. Selena stood there, her smile finally reaching her eyes as she took in the scene, me gripping Sophia's wrist, both of us frozen like deer in headlights. Everything okay, girls? She asked, but the way she said it made my skin crawl. She knew. She knew Sophia had told me something. The drive home in Selena's Mercedes felt like being trapped in a cage. Sophia passed out in the back seat, her head lolling against the window while Selena made pointed comments from the driver's seat. Too much excitement for one night, she said, glancing at me in the rearview mirror. Some people just can't handle their liquor. Say the strangest things when they drink. I kept my mouth shut, watching the streetlights blur past. My mind raced with what Sophia had said. Dad wasn't at a conference. He was at our house with Selena the night before Mom died. At home, I waited until Selena helped Sophia to bed before cornering Dad in his study. He sat behind his desk, tie loosened, clearly hammered from the party. His laptop was open, calendar app visible on the screen. Dad, I need to ask you something about Mom's accident. accident, I started. He waved his hand dismissively. Not tonight, Ellie. I'm tired. Were you really at that conference? I pressed. The weekend Mom died? His bloodshot eyes narrowed. Of course I was. Why are you asking this now? I stepped closer, and that's when I saw it. His calendar for that week. No conference marked. My fingers moved quickly, screenshotting with my phone before he realized what I was doing. He slammed the laptop shut, standing up so fast his chair rolled back. What the hell do you think you're doing? The study door opened, and Selena appeared like she'd been waiting outside. She looked at Dad's flushed face, then at me. Rick, honey, you should get to bed. You've had a long day, she said sweetly, guiding him toward the door. He went without protest, shooting me one last confused look. Once he was gone, Selena turned to me, her fake smile gone. Sophia says the strangest things when she drinks. I hope you're not taking a hammered teenager's ramblings seriously. I retreated to the guest room without answering, my phone burning in my pocket with that screenshot. But when I reached my door, I stopped cold. Fresh screwdriver marks scarred the door frame where my lock used to be. The lock itself was gone. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened the text with trembling fingers. Stop digging or you'll be next. I recognized the number pattern from the credit card statements I'd seen. It matched the burner phone charges on Selena's card. The next morning at breakfast was torture. Sophia sat mechanically eating her eggs, refusing to make eye contact with me while Selena chattered about college tours they'd be taking. We're thinking East Coast schools for Sophia, Selena said, cutting her grapefruit with surgical precision. Good to get away from distractions. After they left for Sophia's hangover brunch with friends, I climbed up to the attic. Mom's boxes were still there, shoved in a corner like afterthoughts. I found her old phone in a box of electronics, the battery long dead. But Mom was always prepared. The charging cable was wrapped neatly beside it. I plugged it in and waited. When it finally powered on, I went straight to her messages. The last text to her best friend Claire made my blood run cold. Need to talk about R and insurance. Something's not right. R. Rick. Dad. Looking for something specific? I spun around. Selena stood in the attic doorway, her silhouette backlit by the hallway light. Just going through Mom's things, I managed. She stepped into the attic, her heels clicking on the wooden floor. Grief makes people do strange things, see patterns that aren't there, create conspiracies to explain random tragedies. She picked up one of Mom's old sweaters, examining it like evidence. Your father's worried about you. After she left, I tried calling Mom's best friend Claire, straight to voicemail, again and again. Finally, a text came through. Selena visited, said you're having breakdown. Please get help. My hands shook as I opened Instagram. There were posts I didn't make, long rambling captions about struggling with grief and acting out, all posted while I'd been asleep. The timestamps showed 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Photos of me looking disheveled at school, captions about dark thoughts. Monday at school, the counselor pulled me aside before first period. Mrs. Martinez usually had a warm smile, but today she looked concerned. Ellie, your stepmother called. She's worried about some violent tendencies you've been displaying. What? I haven't. She mentioned the pawn shop incident and some threats you've made toward your stepsister. She leaned forward. We want to help you, but you need to be honest about what you're going through. That evening, Dad announced I'd be starting therapy with Dr. Morrison, Selena's friend who specialized in troubled teens. Already booked, already paid for. No discussion. My phone rang. Grandma's nursing home number. I answered eagerly, desperate for someone who'd believe me. Ellie, sweetheart, why haven't you visited? Grandma sounded confused. Your father said you didn't want to see me anymore. That's not true. I've been trying to. Oh, and dear, I've been meaning to ask, do you remember where I put the key to your mother's safety deposit box? I know she wanted you to have what's inside when you turned 18, but I can't seem to. My heart raced. Grandma, I'll come see you tomorrow. We'll look together. But when I biked to the nursing home the next afternoon, Selena's white Mercedes sat in the parking lot like a threat. I locked my bike and ran inside. Grandma's room was empty. The nurse at the station smiled apologetically. Oh, Mrs. Chen took her for a spa day. Such a thoughtful daughter-in-law. Something on Grandma's nightstand caught my eye. Her reading glasses, the ones she couldn't function without. She'd never leave them behind. Never. Grandma couldn't read or sign anything without them. I pedaled home, my mind racing. 3 different neighbors were out doing yard work, and each one mentioned something that made my skin crawl. Mr. Peterson trimming his hedge. Saw someone out on your trampoline the night before your mom's accident. Looked like they were adjusting the springs. Mrs. Kim walking her dog. Strange to see your dad's car that night when he was supposed to be away. Mr. Rodriguez washing his car. Your stepmom sure knew her way around your backyard for someone who'd supposedly never been there before. A pattern emerged in my mind. Selena always positioned herself between me and anyone who might help. Claire, Grandma, even Dad. She was isolating me, making me look unstable, cutting off my support system one by one. Tuesday after school, I found a note in my backpack, tucked between textbooks. Mom checks my phone. Meet me at Mall Starbucks 3 p.m. I told Jess everything first, sitting in her car in the school parking lot. Her mom was a paralegal. Maybe she'd know what to do. This is insane, Jess breathed after I showed her the screenshots and texts. We need to document everything. My mom always says that. But when I got to the mall, Sophia wasn't at Starbucks. Instead, Selena appeared with a security guard, her face a mask of concern. There she is, officer. My daughter said Ellie threatened her, told her to meet her here. She turned to me with fake worry. Ellie, honey, we're just trying to help you. The security guard looked bored, but did his job, escorting me out while Selena followed, playing the concerned stepmother perfectly. Other shoppers stared. Some took photos. Back home that night, Dad confronted me in the kitchen. Sophia told us everything. How you grabbed her at the party, forced her to lie about that conference weekend. His disappointment cut deep. I know you miss your mom, but taking it out on Selena and Sophia isn't the answer. Dad, I have proof. Enough! He slammed his hand on the counter. You're spiraling, Ellie. Thank God Selena's here to help us through this. I lay in my lockless room that night, staring at the ceiling. Mom's phone hidden under my mattress felt like a ticking time bomb, the text about insurance, the neighbor's sightings, Sophia's drunken confession. The pieces were all there. I just had to survive long enough to put them together. The next morning, Selena redecorated my guest room while I was at school. I came home to find a teddy bear on my dresser, positioned oddly. Its glass eyes faced directly at my computer desk. I picked it up and felt the weight distribution was wrong. A quick examination revealed the tiny camera lens hidden in its eye. I left the bear exactly where Selena had placed it. That night, I made a show of writing in my journal about evidence I'd supposedly hidden in my school locker. I watched from my bed as the red recording light blinked steadily. Sure enough, security footage from school the next day showed Selena's Mercedes in the parking lot at 11 p.m. The night janitor later mentioned finding my locker open, contents scattered. I'd left nothing there but old gym clothes. Mrs. Chen from the hardware store approached me after school on Thursday. She'd been Mom's friend since high school. Her hands trembled as she pulled me aside near the bike racks. She explained that Dad had come to her store the week before Mom died. He'd purchased spring adjustment tools, claiming he needed them for a home project. The thing was, Dad never fixed anything. Mom had always joked that he couldn't even change a light bulb without calling a handyman. I documented everything in a notebook I kept at Jess's house. Her mom, Sandra, quietly suggested we make copies of all evidence. She offered to store them in her office safe, just in case. The threats from Selena escalated. She'd corner me when Dad wasn't around, her voice low and menacing. I started carrying Mom's old phone in my backpack, hidden in the lining. One afternoon, I managed to slip it into the air vent in my room before Selena's inspection. The recording captured 20 minutes of her searching through my belongings and muttering about finding whatever I was hiding. I decided to approach our family lawyer about Mom's case. Mr. Nathaniel had handled Mom's will and knew our family for years. His secretary scheduled me for a consultation, but when I arrived, he looked uncomfortable. He explained that without new physical evidence, the accidental death ruling would stand. The coroner's report was final. The case was closed. I could see the sympathy in his eyes, but also fear. Selena had gotten to him too. 3 of my teachers began checking on me independently. Mrs. Ailey noticed my isolation during lunch. Mr. Sebastian saw my exhaustion in chemistry class. Coach McSebastian watched me zone out during PE. They formed an unofficial protection network, making sure I was never completely alone at school. The mail arrived while Selena was at her yoga class. I intercepted a credit card statement before she could grab it. My hands shook as I read the itemized charges. 2 weeks before Mom died, Selena's card showed a purchase from an online retailer specializing in trampoline parts. Specific springs designed to fail under certain weight loads. Mom's coworker Brad reached out through Facebook. He'd been avoiding me since the funeral, but something had been bothering him. Mom had approached him about life insurance beneficiary changes the week before her death. She'd been asking questions about how to protect assets in case of divorce. I decided to change tactics. At dinner, I acted completely normal. I complimented Selena's cooking, asked about her day, even laughed at Dad's work stories. I could see him relaxing, the tension in his shoulders easing. He mentioned being tired of all the drama lately. An insurance company letter arrived the next week. I recognized the logo from papers I'd seen in Dad's study. The return address indicated their fraud investigation department. I slipped it into my backpack before anyone noticed. Brad met me at a coffee shop near school. His hands shook as he revealed what Mom had discovered. Selena had convinced Dad to take out a $2 million life insurance policy on Mom 6 months before her death. Mom found out and started asking questions. She'd been investigating quietly, gathering evidence. That evening at dinner, I casually mentioned insurance while passing the salad. Just the word, dropped into conversation about college planning. Selena's wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. Red wine spread across the white tiles like blood. 2 days later, Selena pulled me aside after school. She made an offer that confirmed everything. $50,000 to start fresh at a boarding school in Europe. All I had to do was leave quietly and never contact Dad again. I refused politely, saying I needed to finish senior year with my friends. Something shifted in Sophia after that. She started sitting with me at lunch, ignoring the whispers from her usual crowd. She picked at her food and mentioned being scared of disappointing her mom. I didn't push, just let her know she could talk if she needed to. I discovered the truth about Dad's conference alibi by accident. While researching colleges online, I found the hotel's event calendar from that weekend. They'd hosted a massive wedding that took over the entire venue. The manager, when I called pretending to be checking on a lost item, remembered it clearly. No conferences that entire week. The timeline became clear. Every single person except Dad, Selena, and Sophia had the same story. The neighbors saw someone on the trampoline. The hardware store had records. The hotel had no conference. Only their version differed. Grandma's nurse, Endra, took a huge risk reaching out to me. She'd found something while cleaning Grandma's room. A letter in Mom's handwriting, hidden in a book. The message was clear. If anything happens to me, investigate the trampoline. Mom had known she was in danger. Jess created an encrypted group chat with 5 trusted friends. They took turns watching my house from the park across the street, documenting any unusual activity. Their parents thought they were studying together. Sandra, Jess's mom, became my unofficial guardian angel. We bonded over protecting me from Selena's escalating psychological warfare. She couldn't take official action, but she could advise and document. I knew breaking into Selena's room would be a mistake. Instead, I asked Sophia during one of our lunch conversations if she'd noticed anything unusual in her mom's belongings. She agreed to look during their next mother-daughter spa day. The confrontation came at the grocery store. I was buying milk when Selena appeared in the dairy aisle. She started her usual manipulation, but I stayed calm. I stated facts clearly and quietly. Other shoppers began to notice as Selena's voice rose. In her agitation, she contradicted her own conference alibi, claiming she'd been home taking care of Dad, who was too hammered to attend. Our neighbor Mr. Peterson approached me the next day with a USB drive. He'd installed security cameras after a break-in years ago. The footage from the the night before mom died showed unusual activity in our backyard. He'd saved it after hearing rumors about the trampoline tampering. Dad's brother Mike had been distant since mom's death, but my evidence package changed his mind. He started asking questions Dad couldn't answer. Why did the conference hotel have no record? Why did the credit card show those specific purchases? Mike's doubt was visible at family dinners. 4 people were now independently suspicious. They began comparing notes without my prompting. The hardware store owner, the neighbors, Mike, and mom's coworkers. Truth has a way of surfacing when enough people start looking. Sandra connected me with a private investigator friend who worked pro bono cases. He couldn't officially investigate without a client, but he could advise me on evidence collection and preservation. Selena made a tactical error during one of our confrontations. She admitted being at the house that night, but claimed she was checking on Dad, who was too hammered to drive home. Except Dad had supposedly been at a conference. Her lies were tangling. Mike pulled me aside after Sunday dinner. His apology came with tears and an offer. His spare room was available if I ever needed somewhere safe to stay. He should have questioned things sooner, he said. Mom would never forgive him for failing to protect me. The call from Selena's ex-husband Alex came out of nowhere. He'd found my story through a mutual acquaintance. His voice was steady but pained as he described his own mother's death 5 years ago. A fall from a ladder while cleaning gutters. Right after she'd discovered his affair with Selena. The pattern was clear. Women who discovered affairs. Women who asked questions. Women who threatened Selena's plans. They had accidents. Despite everything, I refused to weaponize Sophia against her mother. When she offered to snoop through Selena's phone, I declined. Trust built slowly between us as she realized I wouldn't manipulate her the way her mother did. 5 neighborhood families quietly stopped accepting Selena's dinner invitations. Hushed conversations at school pickup led to polite rejections. The social isolation Selena had crafted for me was reflecting back on her. Dr. Morrison, despite being Selena's friend, was a mandatory reporter. During our 3rd session, he recognized the manipulation patterns I described. His questions shifted from my grief to my home environment. Selena's attempt to have me committed backfired spectacularly. The explosion came on a Thursday evening. Dad witnessed Selena screaming at me in the kitchen about ruining everything. Her mask slipped completely as she raged about her plans, her future, her reputation. Dad's face showed the first cracks of doubt as he watched the woman he'd chosen reveal her true nature. Church friends who'd been distant started reaching out directly. Instead of going through Selena to check on me, they called my cell. They brought groceries, they offered rides. The community was slowly recognizing the truth. Mom's friend at the bank, CB, took a massive risk. She quietly confirmed that Mom had been researching beneficiary changes before her death. Mom had specifically asked about protecting assets from a potentially hostile spouse. The paperwork had been started but never completed. Then came the deadline that changed everything. An insurance investigator contacted me directly. The $2 million payout was scheduled to process in 48 hours. After that, the money would be gone, dispersed to the beneficiary, Selena. Sophia's aunt noticed bruises on her arms during a family visit, the kind that came from gripping too hard, the kind that mothers who were losing control left on their daughters. Sophia's perfect facade was cracking. The stakes crystallized. Either I proved unaliving in 2 days, or Selena walked away with $2 million and disappeared forever. I had 48 hours to save not just my future, but Sophia's too. I handled the pressure the way Mom taught me. Methodically, analytically, each piece of evidence cataloged, each witness statement documented, each lie exposed with facts, not emotions. Dad's colleagues at the firm started excluding Selena from events. Her aggressive behavior at the company picnic had left a bad impression. Strange vibes, they said. Something off about her. 7 community members were now actively supporting my version of events. They didn't coordinate or plan. Truth simply drew them together like magnets finding north. The first real victory came when Sophia moved in with her aunt. Selena's control shattered as her own daughter chose safety over loyalty. The aunt had seen enough bruises, heard enough stories. She filed for emergency custody. In desperation, Selena tried one final manipulation. She told anyone who would listen that I had pushed Mom, that I was jealous and disturbed, that the trampoline accident was my fault. But Mr. Peterson's security footage destroyed that lie. Time-stamped video showed me at Jess's house during the exact window when someone tampered with the trampoline springs. My alibi was rock solid. Selena's was crumbling. The pressure mounted as the 48-hour deadline approached. I spent the night organizing every piece of evidence into a comprehensive timeline. Sandra helped me create multiple copies, storing them in different locations. Her office safe held the originals while I kept duplicates at school and Mike's house. Morning brought an unexpected development. Sophia appeared at my school during lunch, her face pale and drawn. She handed me a manila envelope without speaking, then hurried away before anyone could see us together. Inside, I found photocopies of receipts from her mother's desk drawer, hardware store purchases, trampoline parts, all dated within the critical time frame. The insurance investigator arrived at our house that afternoon. I watched from my bedroom window as his sedan pulled into the driveway. Selena's Mercedes screeched to a halt moments later. She must have been watching for him. I gathered my evidence binder and headed downstairs. The living room had become a battlefield. Dad sat on the couch looking confused while Selena paced near the fireplace. The investigator, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, set up his laptop on the coffee table. Mike arrived just as the questioning began. He positioned himself near the door, arms crossed, making it clear he was staying. His presence gave me strength as I laid out the timeline. The conference that never existed, the hardware store purchases, the neighbor's sightings. Selena's composure cracked with each piece of evidence I presented. She tried interrupting, claiming I was a disturbed teenager seeking attention, but the investigator focused on the documents, not her performance. He examined the credit card statements, the hotel records, the security footage timestamps. When I showed him Mom's final text about insurance insurance concerns, Selena made a critical error. She blurted out that mom had been paranoid about the policy, always asking questions and making accusations. The investigator's pen stopped moving. He looked up slowly. The room went silent as everyone processed what she'd just admitted. She knew about mom's concerns before the accident. She'd never mentioned this before. Dad's face drained of color. He stared at Selena as if seeing her for the first time. His hands trembled as he reached for the water glass on the side table. Sophia arrived with her aunt during the heated exchange. She wore long sleeves despite the warm weather, but when she raised her hand to push back her hair, the bruises on her wrist were visible, purple fingerprints against pale skin. Her aunt guided her to a chair across from the investigator. Sophia's statement came out in a rush. Years of manipulation, threats, the night before mom's accident, what she'd witnessed in our backyard. I watched Dad crumble as his daughter's words confirmed what he'd been desperately trying to deny. His shoulders shook, but no sound came out. Mike moved to sit beside him, a steady presence in the chaos. The investigator requested to see the trampoline. We all filed out to the backyard like a funeral procession. The springs had been replaced after mom's accident, but Mr. Peterson's security footage clearly showed someone working on them the night before. Selena tried one last manipulation. She claimed I must have tampered with the evidence, that I'd orchestrated everything out of grief and jealousy, but her voice had lost its power. Even she seemed to realize how hollow her words sounded. The investigator took photographs of the trampoline from multiple angles. He measured distances, checked sight lines from the neighbors' properties, every detail documented. Back inside, I made my choice. I handed over every piece of evidence, knowing it implicated Dad in the insurance fraud even if he hadn't known about the unaliving plot. The investigator accepted each document carefully, marking them with evidence tags. Dad stood abruptly and walked out without a word. Not to me, not to Mike, not even to Selena. We heard his car start and pull away. The sound of tires on gravel felt like goodbye. Selena's final attempt at control came through legal threats. She claimed I'd stolen private documents, invaded her privacy, slandered her reputation. The investigator calmly informed her that evidence of insurance fraud superseded any privacy concerns. The nanny cam footage proved crucial. Not only had it captured Selena searching my room, but it also recorded her making phone calls about moving money offshore, planning her escape if things went wrong. By evening, the investigator had enough to freeze the insurance payout indefinitely. No money would be dispersed until a full investigation was completed. Selena's dream of $2 million evaporated. She left that night, packed her designer luggage into the Mercedes, and drove away without saying goodbye to anyone, even Sophia, especially Sophia. Dad returned 3 days later, but only to pack his things. He couldn't look at me, couldn't speak. Mike tried to mediate, but Dad had made his choice. He followed Selena to whatever new life she was building, unable to face the truth about the woman he'd chosen over his daughter's safety. The house felt hollow without them, not empty in a sad way, but like poison had been drained from a wound. Mike moved in temporarily, claiming he needed to help with maintenance. We both knew he was really there to make sure I was safe. Grandma came home from the nursing facility, her reading glasses firmly on her nose. She took over Mom's old room, filling it with the familiar scents of her lavender soap and peppermint tea. Her presence brought warmth back to the cold spaces. Sophia visited every week. Her aunt drove her over, and we'd sit in Mom's restored garden, not talking much, just existing in shared understanding. Two girls who'd survived the same storm. The investigation continued for months. Forensic accountants traced financial patterns. Insurance fraud specialists examined the policy details. The trampoline manufacturer provided specifications about the tampered springs. No criminal charges were filed. The evidence strongly suggested unaliving, but proving it beyond reasonable doubt in court would be difficult. Selena had been careful, almost careful enough, but the insurance money never paid out. The policy was voided due to fraud. Mom's death benefit from her employer went into a trust for my education, managed by Mike and Sandra. I found Mom's safety deposit box key hidden in Grandma's jewelry box, exactly where Mom had told her to put it. Inside were documents she'd been gathering, evidence of Dad's financial irregularities, Selena's suspicious past, a letter to me, written 2 weeks before she died. The letter didn't contain accusations or fears, just love, reminders to pursue my education, to trust my instincts, to surround myself with people who truly cared about me. She'd known something was wrong but hadn't wanted her final message to be about fear. Dad sent one email 6 months later. No apology, no explanation, just a forwarding address for legal documents. Selena had convinced him to start fresh in another state. New jobs, new identities, new victims probably, but our community remembered. Mrs. Chen kept Mom's photo on the hardware store bulletin board. The neighbors watched out for Grandma and me. Jess's family included us in their holiday celebrations. Sophia chose to stay with her aunt permanently. The custody arrangement became official without contest. Selena never fought for her daughter, too focused on saving herself. The house transformed slowly. Grandma and I repainted walls, choosing colors Mom would have loved. We rehung family photos Selena had hidden. The meditation space became a vegetable garden again. Mike helped me apply for colleges. With Mom's trust fund restored and additional scholarships, I had options. Good schools, engineering programs, everything Mom had dreamed for me. Sophia and I grew closer through shared healing. She joined my study groups, ate dinner with Grandma and me twice a week, slowly became the sister I'd never had, forged through trauma but built on genuine care. The community rallied in quiet ways. Anonymous groceries appeared on our porch. Teachers offered extra tutoring. Parents carpooled without being asked. Not pity, but recognition that sometimes families break in unexpected ways. Dr. Morrison apologized for his initial assessment. He'd been manipulated too, he realized. He offered free sessions to help process the trauma. Real help this time, not Selena's version of control. I graduated with honors. Mom's empty chair at the ceremony hurt, but Grandma's proud tears helped. Mike cheered louder than necessary. Sandra and Jess's family filled an entire row. The scholarship I established in Mom's name went to students interested in engineering, funded by the recovered insurance money and community donations. Her legacy lived through others' dreams. Selena surfaced briefly in another state. Alex warned me through social media that she'd remarried. Another widower, another suspicious death in his past. But authorities there had been alerted. Patterns were being watched. I chose a college close enough to visit Grandma weekly, far enough to build my own life. The engineering program challenged me in ways Mom would have appreciated. Sophia enrolled in the same university a year later. Different programs, different paths, but a shared understanding that family comes in many forms. Some you're born into, some you choose, some you build from the ashes of what others destroyed. The trampoline was removed last summer. Mike and I dismantled it together. Each spring a small goodbye. The space became a memorial garden. Not sad, but peaceful. Grandma planted Mom's favorite flowers. On the anniversary of Mom's death, we gather there. Not just Grandma and me, but Mike, Sophia, Sandra's family, the neighbors who spoke up. We share stories, happy memories, the person she was beyond the tragedy. Dad never returned, never called. His absence became its own presence. A reminder that sometimes love isn't enough to overcome cowardice. But his leaving had been its own gift. Space to heal without his denial. I keep one photo on my desk at college. Mom and me on the trampoline, laughing, airborne, before everything changed, but also exactly as we were. Joy captured in a moment that no one could steal. The truth saved us. Not in dramatic courtroom victories or perfect justice, but in small acts of courage. Neighbors who noticed, friends who believed, a hammered girl's confession that started everything. Mom's Northwestern hoodie hangs in my dorm closet. It no longer smells like vanilla, but I wear it during finals. A reminder that education was the one thing no one could take away. She'd been right about that. Grandma, Mike, Sophia, and I share quiet dinners now. Different from before, but whole in its own way. We built something new from the pieces left behind. Not the family we'd planned, but the one we needed. The investigation officially closed last month. No charges filed. No dramatic conclusion. Just paperwork marking the end of one story and the beginning of whatever comes next.